Greetings, my people. Yes, it's Anna Renee, your love power goddess, with the second video of the morning. It's probably about 11:45 by now. Yeah, I did that first video and I really got sidetracked in a major way, so I wanted to end it and create the second one to talk about what I really want to speak about today. And it is it's a subject that's very sensitive, but is very prevalent. And I'm just wondering how we, as parents of our young children, should react when we see this, and if there's anything we can do, or what can we do? Are we victims? But what it is early sexual activation. Yesterday, and let me just describe my complex that I live in. I live in a complex that has 4 apartments, and then there's another complex right next door to it that has 7 apartments in it, and then there's a complex behind me that probably has about 10 apartments. And being that my complex that I'm in now is in the center of these, it somehow amplifies the voices of everybody. So it's like I can hear everything, and I'm sure in many of my videos you can hear background of children playing and stuff like that, people talking. This building, the way it's been created, its design seems to amplify the voices. So I end up hearing a lot of conversations. No, I'm not eavesdropping. I don't eavesdrop. I don't do that. But anyway, this subject is very serious, okay? Yesterday, I overheard one mother of a son who's probably about 10 years old, I would say. And this young boy is a very intelligent boy, beautiful brown boy, okay? He's a latchkey child from time to time. His mom goes and works and whatever. He comes home, and he may get home before her, but now that it's summertime, I guess, he's at home a lot, probably. But yeah, I will hear him playing video games, and he becomes extremely animated while he plays the video games, and even guttural, if I can use that term. He starts making all these sounds when he gets really amped up as he's playing these video games, screaming and then just grunting and just really into it, and he's extremely loud. His little voice carries all around in this complex. So he's an animated child, okay? And I say guttural, and I don't mean any disrespect. I'm not trying to say that he's not intelligent, because he is. He's very intelligent. I saw him. He goes to a school that's the kind of school that actually takes the kids to the library, and not the school library, but the neighborhood library. My neighborhood library, I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I ran into the little child with his class. And so he's a very intelligent boy. He's very articulate, and I say he's about 10 years old. But on this day, and it was yesterday, he got in trouble. His mom started screaming at him. She said, how did she say that? She said, what you think you're gonna show? Why did you pull that up? Why are you watching that? And then her voice started escalating. And then she got really angry. She said, no, you're not going to be doing that. She said, you know what? Get out of my house. Get out. And I'm hearing her saying this, and I'm like, who is she talking to? And I was outside watering my little garden. And then when I see who come out of the house, I say, oh, that's her son. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I know what this has to be about pornography. Okay. It has to be some porn that must have. And then when she starts saying, you're too young to be watching that, and I told you that already. And she said some other things. She said, get out of my house, call your dad, So he sat outside, in front of the house and start calling his dad. And she overheard her say, "Not you, Isaiah, but him." You know, his cousin, who they're the same age. And I'm assuming they're cousins. I know they're cousins. So her son was watching porn or something, you know. And then she got really upset and she said, You think you're going to disrespect me in my house? Get out of my house. Call your dad, you know. So he called his dad, and I guess the decision was made for he and his cousin to leave and go to his cousin's house, you know. So they got their little skateboard things, the kind that has a handle on it, little scooter type things, and the cousin brought his shoes out because he didn't even have his shoes on. Brought his shoes, his coat, and his scooter out, and they thought they were about to go scoot their way over to his house, and I'm sure he must not live far away where they could just go on a scooter to get there. Then mom came out. "Oh, you think you're getting ready to go somewhere? You think you're not grounded right now?" And he, poor little child, his mouth was hanging open. He's like, he doesn't know what to say. And she said, "Well, you know what? Go, because I'm just real angry at you right now. And when you get back, I'm probably not going to be here. So don't you dare go on that computer. You're grounded. You're not going to watch the computer. You're not going to do. Don't you dare go on it." And then she went in her house and she's like, "You need God more than me right about now, you know. Sunday school and everything. Bible study and everything." So I say all of that to say, it's like, I know how how this stuff is slid under the radar to our children while they're watching their playing their video games, you know, online. Pornography sites are going to be connected to it. So I was thinking it's possible that he probably went on and looked at some pornography at one time, you know, when mom wasn't home or whatever. One time, two times, I don't know, you know. But then I was thinking that maybe a pop-up came up, you know, and he wasn't. See, once you go on, it's like pop-ups will come up, right? And what can you say? Mom was so excited, so angry, so she felt betrayed, you know. I could tell. I've had that kind of feeling before. And it's like your emotions are all stirred up. How do you respond to something like, how do you deal with this, you know? Fear comes into your heart. It has to, because your child is only 10 years old, and you know how things are out there. And you have that fear, but then you also have the fear that we have a little misogynist on the making, you know, a boy who doesn't respect women kind of stuff, because she didn't mention, you are not going to disrespect me in my own house, to him. So all of this is going on in her spirit, obviously, but then what's going on in the little boy's spirit? And he probably don't even know what the heck is going on. You know, he probably don't understand why his mom is so upset, you know. Why? Because, you know, that sex stuff probably comes on. He's probably seen it. Like a whole lot of our children have probably seen it. Then she starts screaming about, "I'm going to have to get parental controls and stuff like that. And I told you not to do it, you know. Before, I told you." So it sounds like she's thinking that he's getting ready to turn into a sex. And he's only 10 years old. How did he know? Even if he was looking directly at it, do we know what he's looking at? You know? Well, he knows what he's looking at, but do he understand the ramifications of what he's looking at? The whole thing just sat in my spirit in a way, and I'm like, wow, it's like, it's too much information for a boy, you know. It's too much information for a child, period. Shoot, it's too much information oftentimes for teenagers. So his mom is upset. All he could do is apologize, but that wasn't enough. He said, "I'm sorry." She said, You ought to be sorry." "No, you ain't coming in. Sit right there." So she wouldn't let him back in the house. And she wasn't kicking him to the curb. It wasn't that serious. She just wouldn't let him come back in the house at that moment, you know. Because I know that's as far as that would have gone. So he's probably got a whole lot going on in his mind about this whole thing. What just happened? It wasn't his fault, but he couldn't argue. It wasn't my fault, Mom. I didn't. No, how could he? Probably felt guilty because he probably did look at something before. So it's like, it's a sad thing because our children is slid under the radar, and just bam, it's like a punch to the child, right to their spirit, you know. And it reminded me of what Sister Maudie was talking about in terms of those Smurfs that are advertising whatever. I can't remember what you're talking about, but sex, pretty much, you know, to our young girls, you know, and hitting the children way below the belt, metaphysically speaking, you know, and activating them sexually way before their time, you know. And this is how it happens for little boys, you know. And I was like thinking, you know, it's like, how are parents supposed to deal with this situation? How do you deal with this, you know? What is the conversation you're supposed to have with your child? Are you supposed to put locks on their computers and, you know, parental advisory, stopping pop-ups? And, you know, at this point in time, I remember when my son is 32 years old, gonna be 32 years old this year. But I remember when he was 10 and 12 that they were talking about this kind of stuff, but it was mostly because the videos were very violent, you know, blood dripping every time somebody get punched in the head. That's where it was at that time, and they were really up in arms about it and wanting to create ways where children wouldn't be exposed, you know. But it's like when we try to fight to try to protect our children's minds, we end up losing that battle. If we try to fight the system and try to fight in a way to try to help make them stop exposing our children, they don't stop. They just go harder, it seems like, because it's way worse nowadays. It's sexual. It's always sexual. It's the kind of porn that it's that deep stuff. I know it is. And when Mom told son to call Dad, and she said, and you explain to him why I'm upset. My mind then went to this place. I wonder now what his dad is going to tell him. Is his dad going to break it down as, you know what, son, you messed up? Well, son didn't mess up. You know what, this is wrong because, or is dad going to say, okay, well now, son, you have now been initiated into the manhood of this whatever sexuality, on the down low kind of tip, the kind where you don't want to talk to mommy about this. This is between me and you. You're like a man. I wonder if that's the kind of conversation Dad would have with son, you know, which would then create a confusion for son that he wouldn't be able to resolve, you know. Why mommy's so upset on this side, but Dad is like, it's all cool, and now let me show you some stuff now. You done reached a certain level now. You're here now. Where he would be proud on this side, but his mom was upset on that side. So my mind was going with this, and I'm just wondering, you know, how does Dad deal with this? How do fathers deal with this initiation of sorts? You know, I mean, that's what it's like, you know. Yeah. And this is not the only thing. I've been just observing the children in this complex. There's a lot of children in this complex of different ages, and they all seem to have very strong personalities. And It's because of the high level of intelligence of these children. They're very intelligent, you know. All right, so this is part 1 of my young boy sexual initiation video. I'm going to come back with a second video. Okay, my people.